um, mindfulness isn't always so easy to get to. You know, if you've ever tried it, like, because really what that is, it's sort of bare attention, even focus over mental phenomena. And you probably know how easy it is to get pulled out because you hear a sound, something else is going on, you're sad, you're upset, you're afraid, or something else is going on in your life. It's so easy to get pulled out of that. I guess we also are trained in this in our culture to see really the importance of mindfulness. In Asia, they kind of know, but I think it's it's the zeitgeist now. Mindfulness is the zeitgeist, so we're learning more and more. I don't know, maybe especially for you guys, if you're doing this line of work. Um, I just say this very quickly. I just read a meta-analysis that mindfulness training, once you've really trained your mind to be mindful, whatever that in the way that I just described it, and the effects are just they're just seeing more and more. The effects are just always positive. So across such a wide variety of different things, either psychological disturbance or physical maladies like pain, physical pain. It can be a weird experience. So I mean, in that it can actually work as well as it does. Now. I know when they give this, what do they call it, mindfulness-based stress reduction, they give that over the course of a number of weeks. And they'll say things like, it doesn't matter how you get to mindfulness, that state of mind. You can do it through, playing golf or whatever it is that you can do to get to that space. Now, in the Buddhist world, they have a very systematic way of doing it. And I'm going to show you. You've heard of tantric Buddhism. I know you're thinking sex. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's using yogas, different forms of yoga to stabilize the mind. So what we'll do today is like breath, sound, and finally the mind itself. Because sometimes we go straight to the mind, try and use the mind to induce a state of mindfulness. If you're good at that, kudos, you need to write a book. But for a lot of us, you have to use supports. So I'm going to show you this. This is going to be a little embarrassing because you have to make noises and things. Just do the best you can. I hope I'm not the only one really embarrassed by it. Okay. So, any questions along the way, just stop and ask. Okay.
I'm just curious before you get started. How did you begin to do this? How did you get involved in this?
A slightly circuitous route. I got interested in meditation when I was a teenager. I came from a kind of a chaotic background. There's a little bit of violence in my family. And my startle response was, I was constantly doing this, and I got tired of it. And I wanted to just calm down. So there was a transcendental meditation program around the corner from me. I started taking that. I was surprised, really kind of shocked to see how powerful it could be. But I was a teenager, stupid kid, and I left it. And then I'm trying to make a long story short, but it was really that way, really, sort of, and watching Kung Fu. Here was a guy who could do violent, but not that I'm violent, I never was, but he was also a very centered and gentle person. Kind of a dumb answer, but as a kid. But other things too through the years, because I also left this. I left meditation, and but then I had a high school teacher that introduced me to Zen, and I was very much interested in Zen and Japanese culture, not Buddhism, not religion. And I was reintroduced to focusing the mind through that, and couple of years passed, I began to read a little bit of Buddhism, and I could see that there was something powerful about it. I knew that there was something powerful about meditation, but again, I let it go. But I always knew that I was going to have to return to it. I'm sorry, I actually went on a meditation retreat, though, too, to a monastery upstate. I spent 8 days there, not quite prepared for that. But actually having gone through the week and how difficult that was, and then arriving on the other end, and saying this was really something, and to be able to, at least for me, it was amazing to see how calm and how quiet I could make my mind. And it was available all the time, and it's just don't know it. Then there was a death in my family, and then I knew, okay, that because I kind of left it again, and there was a sudden death in my family. I knew, okay, this is important. I have to stick close to this because it's so easy to get pulled away. Life is always going to, showing me us, crazy, wacky things, and I can't let myself get lost on the ocean of worldly existence. So that was really it. Um, Especially because the next few minutes are going to be very embarrassing.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll come through the systematic. We're going to go slowly and then get deeper and deeper into this. So first thing is breathing yogas, breath yogas, pranayama. This takes a little bit of practice, but once you get used to it, it can be amazing. So one of them is called, in Asia, they have a million, breathing is a big deal. They have different kinds of breathing to induce all kinds of different mental states. This one is really to induce calm. So I think they call it, you guys were there one day, right? I think I did the same thing. This one is called Ujjayi breath. I think it translates, if you do yoga, you've probably heard this before. I think it translates to either Akira's breath or something like that. So what you do is you have to sit straight, everything is sitting up straight. And you want to make this sound. Ideally, you want to make this sound. How do you do it? It's you constrict this the muscles up in here as if you're snoring. So, but then you're doing it. Ideally, you get good enough at this so that there's a thin stream of air going up and down the back of your throat. You'll know that it's correct because you feel this coolness on the back of your throat, and your stomach will inflate, not your upper lungs, not your upper lungs. Together, but not clenched. Tongue to the roof of your mouth. Ideally, it's going to sound like a balloon inflating. If it's not coming easily, then you can kind of overdo it as your body acclimates to this. Even exhale. Through the nose. Through the nose. Ask me again. Ask me again. Do you need clarification?
No, to say that you're inhaling and exhaling through your nose, but you're doing it from your throat?
No, you are creating a thin stream of air that's going to go down the back of your throat. So you feel a coolness right there, ideally. If you don't feel it, it's okay. The point really is to try and hear that sound, and your stomach is going to inflate. So let's just do this for like just a couple of minutes and see if you notice the difference.
Oh, that's the air.
Okay. Is there any difference?
I got lightheaded. I don't know if that's, am I supposed to be lightheaded?
It depends on how you experience that. I'm not sure. But at least a little bit calmer.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit calmer.
Is it because you're concentrating on your breathing? Is that why?
Good question. It's a couple of reasons. One is because you're using your mind to start to focus. Anytime you start to use your mind, as in the kind of meditation I'm going to show you later on, you start to narrow the focus of your mind. You're pushing out other stimuli, so yeah, you're going to calm down. The other thing, though, is that this kind of breathing, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is not the sympathetic nervous system. Not we're moving away from fight and flight to actually calming down, actively calming down the body. You calm down the body, the mind will follow. But when you get better and better at this, you can also work the other way around. You calm your mind down, your body will relax. So that's why some people, they actually use meditation to, if you have insomnia, they'll go the other way. You do some meditation, you calm your mind down, you fall asleep. Even though it seems like, I had somebody ask me the other day, what do you do for insomnia? And he said, no, I'm not really thinking much. But that's, from a meditative point of view, that's kind of impossible. There's always something going on, whether we're aware of it or not. Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry. Now let's start to add another aspect of this, which is sound. Where this time we'll breathe in a similar way, but on the out breath, we're going to use just something like that, or whatever.
Yeah. Are you breathing out through your nose or your mouth?
In through the nose, out through the mouth. Do this for we'll do this for a couple of minutes. Okay. I'm not hearing humming. I'm only hearing myself here. So. And question, comment? No. Okay.
Where I think it's just the air conditioner.
Okay. Good.
I hear a gentle hum. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I'm the only one who can make any sound, it's making any sound. It's very embarrassing. Anyway, do you notice any difference with this?
I noticed that my exhale was much longer
Yes.
than my inhale.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It had
I think the vibration has a calming effect.
Definitely similar. It's operating the same way. Again, having an effect on the parasympathetic nervous system. The vagus nerves, I think, runs down both sides of the body like this, right to all the internal organs. So that's a common effect.
Right.
Anything else, Christmas time? Because we move right along.
Could you do the sound with breathing? That's why I moved up with
Oh, do the sound with breathing?
the inhale.
You want to hear that?
Yeah. Where are you making
It's up in here. It's up actually. My nose is here. It's about 2.5 3 inches behind me.
So it's not in the throat, it's in the nose.
If you're constricting all the muscles in here, and your tongue is to the roof of your mouth, then probably the action is here, but the sound is coming from up in maybe the sinuses.
It's hard to do with pollen. You're a little congested from allergies. And it's just hard to breathe that in like that.
That's true.
Because it's hard. Yeah.
But again, to start to move toward that sound, because it took me a while to get that. I remember hearing it should sound like a balloon flame. I didn't know what they were talking about for the longest time. I could hear other people do it, and it sounded weird to me. But then, if you do it a lot, then it sort of kicks in by itself. So you can overdo it by snoring a little bit. Okay, this time let's just go straight for sound. And if we do it together, that actually has a nice sort of resonance too. That has a nice effect. So what you want to do in this case is we're going to start to use more of the mind to focus the mind. So you want to, when you're doing this sound, we'll do an ohm. You want to listen to the sound of your own voice, and also at the same time, if you can move back and forth between hearing the sound of your own voice and also feeling the vibration that should be coming from in here. Ideally, like you can feel it a little bit in your chest, a little bit in your throat, but you have to pay attention to that as if there's nothing else in the world that exists. That's the most important thing at the moment. You understand why I'm saying that?
Definitely.
Okay. So, so we'll go through that. We'll do let's do 10 of those.
Can you do it once so we know what we're doing?
Long vowel sound, long MRN or NG sound. Sometimes they go on.
And that was one breath.
One breath.
You're gonna take a deep breath before you go.
And then we start that.
In the end, do you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, or do you find yourself doing that or not? When you close your mouth?
I think I do, but not consciously. I think I do.
That creates a vibration too.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if she comes. This is good. Now we're going to start to, if you can, come to the front of the chair and use your back more to stay up. This comes in more and more. This becomes more important later on. So actually, what they do, oftentimes you see in the monasteries, as they're taking this breath in, and ideally you're using not just the upper lungs, you want to use down here too. Okay, stop. Don't look up. Just stay focused on the space in front of you, just for a few seconds. And then turn your attention to the sounds in the room. And release that focus. Questions, comments, anything? Questions, comments, anything?
But I saw color. Like, didn't know where he's tied everything. Kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind of.
Enjoy.
I guess try not to make it go away.
Springtime, it's supposed to be springtime.
Really?
So nice.
Okay. Now we're gonna similar stuff. But we're gonna start to use more of the mind to support the mind. So again, you want to. This is where the back is going to come a little bit more into play. If you can, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just do what you can do. Don't do anything you don't want to do. And again, traditionally, you'd be sitting on the floor in a lotus posture. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Half lotus.
Half lotus are actually in Burma, they have a different kind of posture, which I do that, the Burmese posture, where your legs are not on top of each other, but it's more almost like sitting cross-legged, except that your legs are still not on top of each other, sort of in front of each other. Still works. But the real point is just to keep the back straight. And you want to engage the muscles of the back, because if you're a newcomer to this, very advanced people can actually do this sort of thing lying down. Meditate while they're, without falling asleep. And for most of us, such as myself, including myself, I have to sit upright. So,
Isn't there a meditation bench? I took Tai Chi once and I had to buy a meditation bench.
oh yeah,
It looks like a sugar bench.
yeah,
My
actually,
husband said it was,
yeah, exactly.
but it's on an angle.
Yeah,
It's not this.
right. And they sell those things, and also cushions like that, because your hips ideally should be above your knees. Hips above the knees, because once you do that, then your sacrum gets pushed like this, and you can stay, because you're going to really be you're activating. Most of the work is coming from your lower back and your hips. Your upper back and your shoulders and your head should you really just be floating above that. Not much muscle activity up here. So certain things. So again, what they tell you is you have to scan your body to make sure it's upright. So your spine should be straight. Your eyes gentle focus in front of you, looking at nothing in particular. Tongue to the roof of the mouth. Your hands kind of folded in front of you, close to the body. Sometimes you see these guys, they're way out here like this, yogis.
Yeah.
They're trying to do something else. But for our purposes, closer to the body. If you're like this, eventually you're going to want to do that. We don't want to do that. Close to the body, then you can actually, then your shoulder blades sort of fall down naturally down the back. It can be very relaxed. What else? Okay, so just follow this. We'll do this on and off a couple of times. So first, again, bring your attention to the sounds in the room. One thing that we're kind of aiming for here is to quiet down any sort of what they would call mental elaboration. So if you hear the sounds in the room or the sounds coming from outside, what we're trying to do is focus only on the sound. If any sort of thoughts, elaboration start to be generated from those sounds, for example, oh, I hear a car. I have to get my car fixed. I have to pick up my stomach, stuff like that. That is all elaboration. What we're looking for here is just hearing the sound, the sensation of hearing the sound. That's it. I just have to say this, sorry, because it has that actually an immediate effect. It takes some time to get there, but anytime elaboration starts, if you really look closely at it, it generates stress, it generates tension. Because our mind is always either jumping into the future or pulling from the past. This exercise is geared towards staying in the present. And then narrow that focus to the space in front of you. Here, Buddhist teachers will often ask, how are you holding your mind? That is, you check into seeing how really present are you? Or is your mood dominating your experience, or thoughts dominating your experience? Are you here, or are you thinking of something else that you have to do? And as best you can, you just want to put that aside for a moment. And then we want to turn our attention to the breathing. Breathing through the nose, not the ujjayi breath I was showing you before, just regular breathing in and out. If you want to be aware of it going through your nose. Narrow that focus again to the sensation of the air moving through your nostrils, cool going in and warm going out. And then release that focus. Don't look up. Just stay close to keep your mind in your general area, but don't try not to get too distracted by the outside. Let your mind go wherever it needs to go. And then we're going to return to breathing, focusing on breathing. Again, bring your attention to the space in front of you. Scan your body to see if your spine is straight and your head is balanced with your shoulders. Check in to see again how you're holding your mind. Where are your thoughts basically? Where are your feelings basically? Are you in a particular mood? Just note that. Once you've seen that, then you're going to turn your attention again to just the air moving in and out of your nose, moving through your nose like a door opening and closing. You know, they say meditation, one writer says meditation is actually retraining attention. We want to retrain our attention so we don't get pulled. We can choose to decide to focus on what we want to focus on and let other things go, at least for a certain time. This is actually very important because I guess especially in your line of work, my line of work, if we want to be effective, and even with our families, if you really want to be effective, we have to calm the mind down. What we're doing right now is concentration meditation. This is really to calm the mind down to move into mindfulness. So what we're doing is retraining our attention just to focus on a single point. This actually it's not superfluous or really exercise. It's really learning how to be let stress go, let tension go, so we can be effective right now. So, sorry, again, return to the breathing. And narrowing that focus to the edges of our nostrils. So we just want to experience the cool air going in and the warm sensation going out. That's all that exists. Everything else is just extra. If you can, pay special attention to when the in-breath turns into an out-breath and the out-breath turns into an in-breath. Can you really find that place? And release that focus. In Buddha school, they teach this kind of meditation, concentration meditation, first, and then Vipassana training, or insight meditation, second, which is akin to mindfulness training. We do it this way because concentration meditation has the effect of calming the mind down. If you calm the mind down, then it's easier to start to look at the contents of the mind without getting pulled away. So it's like concentration meditation is like a microscope. You're looking very closely at one object, ideally for long periods of time. might sound may not make sense right now, but actually it takes a lot of mental energy to get there. But once you're there, a single point of meditation, or what they call samadhi, it's incredibly relaxing to stay focused on one object and not let the mind run the way it usually does. That's actually very stressful. It may not seem like it right now, but it's actually true. Just like multitasking. Multitasking, it sounds nice, but it's pretty stressful. Um, um, with insight meditation or vipassana in the Buddhist world, what they're really using it for is to start to investigate into the mind to see what is this thing. But maybe for our purposes, we don't have such a spiritual lofty sort of motivation. But we can use one of the four, what they call in Theravada Buddhism, there are four types of mindfulness. It's mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings and sensations, mindfulness of consciousness itself, and mindfulness of mental phenomena. Forget the last two. The first two, especially the second one, might be very relevant to what you do, which is mindfulness of sensation and feelings. Because that's a lot of times, all of us, I do it. When something's painful, I want to move away. When something is pleasant, I want to grab on. That's a rat race after a while. And this sort of mindfulness training, this sort of meditation starts to go directly at that. So we don't have to move away. We start to build, I don't know what to call it, but some strength around that. So we don't have to jump out of pain so quickly or try and grasp onto something nice or desirous in some way. I've actually tried this. I spent a lot of time in a dental chair last year, and it wasn't fun. And I tried to do different kinds of meditation when I was sitting in that chair. First, I was doing concentration, and I found it just really was too hard to do. Trying to concentrate on something so I could push the pain out. I actually was reading later on, so other people have written about this. I just wish I had read it before I tried this myself. That doesn't really work so well, but mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of sensation actually works. It sounds crazy, but what I started to do was, and this is something to try, is starting to use the actual pain itself as the object of meditation. It sounds nuts, counterintuitive, but you see that, as I saw, the pain begins to change. It isn't just the pain. The pain is actually made worse because there's a part of us that wants to pull away, and then there's a part of us that says, "I don't deserve this," and then this whole sense of I starts to get activated, which makes this entire experience even more unpleasant. I'm not. You're still going to experience the pain. I still experience the pain, but it was not. It was not just one single phenomenon. It was actually pain is actually many things going on at the same time. Questions, comments? Okay. Actually, you've heard of Stephen Levine. He worked with a lot of, I think, cancer patients, and he taught them this, and he said he was working with one who just horrible headaches. I think because of the meds and the chemotherapy, just the worst headaches. And I think he taught this person to do this kind of using the pain itself as a mental focus. And after a while, there's this sort of relinquishing of there's this tension to want things to be different. But if you do this long enough, there's a relinquishing of that, just letting that go, and the pain begins to fluctuate. It changes. So what we can do is mindfulness, what they will call satipatthana vedana, mindfulness of feeling and sensation. So we'll do this concentration part just a little bit, and then I'll show you. So we'll start again from the outside going in. Bring your attention to any sort of sounds you hear in the room or outside the room. Now the focus to this face in front of you. Again, return to the breath. And again, the sensation of the air moving through your nose. Cool going in, warm going out. And again, if you can, pay special attention to where the in-breath turns into an out-breath and vice versa. And if you can find that tiny little space. And then let go of that focus. And turn your attention to the to your body, to the physical sensation of pain in your body. And that could be anything that draws your attention. Any sort of tension in your body or a place of relaxation, anything. Or you can turn your attention to any sort of feeling that you're feeling, emotional feeling. Emotions are based in the body. And if you can find that, usually there's usually an associated sensation with the feeling in the body. So you can go back and forth between the physical sensation of the emotion and the emotion itself, if you're feeling something. And then let that go. Just relax. So maybe we'll stop here. Questions, comments, anything?
Is there like a benefit to do it with your eyes open as opposed to your eyes closed?
Is there a benefit to doing it with your eyes open or closed?
Yes. Because if you do a lot of this, it's easy if your eyes are closed, it's easy to start to fall asleep. So actually, you can use your eyes to regulate that. Because if your eyes are too wide open, it's easy to get very distracted. But too closed, and it's easy to nod off.
I noticed you were you say focus on something right in front of you. So you're not closing your eyes, but you're not looking around. You're just focusing on, say, the desk.
Yeah. I do. I'm going to ask you, but but I would say that you guys, the energy in this room just seems much different now. Is that true? Let's chat.
Just say we haven't said Pete. We haven't said Pete.
That's amazing.
Never heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny because if you do this for a couple of days and a group of people, by the third day, there's so much, you've gotten so much oxygen into your system that people just, one person will just start laughing, and everybody goes around the room, everybody starts laughing over nothing.
Doesn't take us days.
But that's it.
Thank you. How much should you do it? Like, you should try to practice every day, I'm sure. But start.
This is something, the way I got trained, it's in the beginning, they say, brief but with strong focus. So if even just like a couple of minutes every day, and then building up slowly over time. You could even just, a couple of minutes in the morning, maybe another couple of minutes at lunch, and then before you go to bed at night. Something like that. It's not so good. Many people I tried, to try to do too much, to sit for too long before my mind is really acclimated to this, because this actually takes some time to get used to, and for the body to get used to.
do you do a lot of yoga?
Me? No. I that would help, but
Because we do the breathing in yoga.
yeah, pranayama. I should. The breathing I was just I mentioned earlier is straight out of that.
And then the other one is with nostril.
Yeah, that's actually a great one too to sort of calm things down.
You said about focusing on the pain when you're in the dentist chair, because usually you try to distract yourself from the pain. So when you're focusing on the pain, but then you get to another level where you're not feeling it to the same.
It's kind of difficult to explain. I can. There's a guy, Matthew Ricard. He's wrote a book called Why Meditate. I think that he describes a very similar experience. It's not that the pain goes away, but it begins to have a different, begins to feel different and take on a different kind of meaning. It sounds sort of weird, but what that really means is that once you start to really turn into the pain and you start to look at it, we imagine that we can only take so much. And we're trained like that. We're trained to think that there's only so much we can handle. The truth of the matter is we can handle a lot more. We just don't know it. At least according to this, mindfulness theory. So, part of the reason for that is that we don't know when we're starting to experience pain. We're so used to moving away from it, having an aversion for it, that we narrow our focus to just the pain itself. Like an analogy would be, if I get a splinter, all my mind is going all right there, but there's everything behind that. There's the rest of my body is not feeling that pain, but I'm just so focused on this one space. And trying to move away from it. But but once you start to really look at that, you begin to see that you start to get more in touch with it. It's a little, it's a term ironic or paradoxical, I don't know what, but that pain begins to be experienced in a different way. It isn't just the one single pain, it's always moving up and down. Excuse me? It eases, it kind of, it fluctuates. Ebbs and flows. And also it's the grasping at, in Buddhist terms, I would call it grasping at a self that wants to move away from that starts to ease up. But maybe for our purposes, the language here might be this sort of grasping at wanting to move away from it, just simply that, or the aversion to it begins to calm down. Once that aversion starts to calm down, it's amazing. It can be really amazing. That's when the meaning of it begins to change. It isn't happening to me, it's just happening.
If you can get to that acceptance of it.
Yes, it moves toward radical acceptance. Radical acceptance.
With the child body.
Yeah.
Or paper cuts or whatever.
That's our next exercise. I'm gonna pass around this piece of paper. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.